Oh, made it in time. Made it just in time to fill up my water bottle and grab some tea. Alrighty. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the show. My name is Louis Vuitton, and thank you for stopping by. I am an Australian left-wing progressive streamer. I like to talk about all sorts of things, including, but not limited to, workers' rights, minority rights, in particular trans and indigenous rights. Also, I talk about masculinity. It's always a lot to talk about on that topic, so hey, if that's the kind of thing that you think you might be interested in, stick around. Chuck me a follow. So, we don't really have... I'm going to say we have like a bit of an unpleasant stream, which is true. We do have an unpleasant stream. Hopefully we can get some... get through the unpleasant stuff to maybe get through to something a bit more lighthearted. You never know. We'll see. Let me just bring the stream up on my phone. And let me open the stream by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land from which I'm coming to you live from, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. I'd like to pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and welcome any Indigenous people joining us today. So... oh dear. Whew. I was almost not going to stream today. I didn't stream yesterday because, what happened in the morning? Yesterday was Saturday. I don't remember what happened in the morning. I mustn't have woken up feeling it. So I was going to stream in the evening, but then I felt really sick yesterday, so I didn't end up streaming. Sorry. And I woke up today also not feeling well, but I thought, no, come on, you might not be streaming tonight, so you have to stream this morning, alright? Can't go more than one day without streaming. That's the game, okay? Also, on that topic, as I've said, I am Australian. Not American, as you can probably tell. It is early my time. It is 7:40 my time. I haven't quite managed to get back in the habit yet of waking up at 6 and streaming at 7. I'm getting there, alright? My sleep schedule was fucked for weeks. I'm almost there, okay? We're almost back to a 7 o'clock start. Nearly there, okay? But anyway, on that topic, hey, how many Australians do you have streaming at this time of the morning, alright? I ideally would like to be streaming morning my time, 7 AM, so like 1 PM EST, and also in the evening, maybe like 6, 7, 8 PM my time. More of an Australian stream for the Australians, you know. So hey, who has that kind of commitment? I don't know, some people do stream 6, 8, 10 hours a day, that's true. But how many do a split shift? So yeah, as I was getting ready today, just getting dressed and whatnot, I saw this pop on my phone. Oh, excuse me. Something in the news. Haiti earthquake, latest. At least 227 people dead, more than 1,500 injured. Jesus. The quake was similar in strength to one that struck in 2010. Oh, fuck. Where have I heard this tale before? I've heard this story before. It's not a good one. At least 227 people were killed and more than 1,500 injured in the devastating 7.2 magnitude earthquake that rocked Haiti Saturday morning. 7.2, Jesus Christ. The earthquake, according to the United States Geological Survey, struck about 5 miles north of Petit Trou d'Indy. It's not like Nippies. Anyway, a little over 90 miles from the capital, Port, or should I be pronouncing it with a French accent or not? Because I've heard people say, like, Port-au-Prince, I think. I don't know, let's keep going. Jesus, there were also concerns that the earthquake would exacerbate the island's COVID-19 infection rate should displaced people be forced into close confines. Sounds like valid concerns to me. Definitely. Jerry Chandler, Haiti's director of civil protection, said that teams will be sent to the area for search and rescue missions. The Associated Press reported the Haitian government believes high casualties are probably... Hang on, what can I get out of showing? High casualties are probable given the earthquake's magnitude. Whew. Well, like I said, I've seen this story before, and it's not a good one, not a happy one. I am sure that the United States and other Western countries will be at the forefront of providing foreign aid to ensure that the Haitian people get back on their feet as soon as possible. I'm sure that's what's going to happen. So yeah, that's fun. How long are we going for? 11 minutes. Suppose we might as well get to the main topic. My mouth is so dry though. I don't have much else to talk about. I mean, but before I get into the whole Afghanistan thing, I suppose we can talk about the situation in a country like Afghanistan is so far removed from Australian discourse. Right now in Australia, all the country's focused on is our COVID-19 situation. The entire state of New South Wales is locked down because they've had outbreaks for weeks, months even at this point, and they haven't been able to get them under control because their government's had a very half-assed approach. The New South Wales state government. Excuse me. The state government has refused to lock down, have refused to classify what makes an essential worker, has refused to provide any kind of support. There is a disaster payment, but I don't know if that's been applicable to New South Wales. But yeah, and now it's affecting the other states. Queensland's doing okay. Victoria, not so much. Victoria keeps on getting cases coming from New South Wales. Almost said New Zealand. And New Zealand's doing fine. Yeah, so we're in a lockdown at the moment. Our lockdown's just been extended until next week. Before that, we were in another lockdown. And we had about a 5-day break before going back into lockdown. This current one. So yeah. People are not at all interested in what's happening in Afghanistan, in Australia. No one is talking about that. It is so far removed from public discourse. The Australian people have very different priorities right now. The Australian people really are concerned about themselves. Which, hey, isn't great because, I mean, Australia's involved with the situation in Afghanistan too. Sorry, I'm playing around with my phone, the stream on my phone, alright? Oh, let me leave this. Okay. Let's take a look at some info. So, speaking of Australia, because we are involved, Australian military to evacuate hundreds from Afghanistan as Taliban heads towards assault on Kabul. Hundreds of who? Of Afghani civilians? Australian military will embark on a dangerous mission to urgently evacuate hundreds of people from Afghanistan, with the Taliban soon expected to launch an all-out assault on the Afghan capital. RAAF planes are expected to arrive in Kabul as early as this week to begin the evacuation, which will be coordinated with the arrival of US and British security forces. The ABC can reveal the hastily organised air bridge mission will also likely involve Australian customs and immigration personnel, as well as consular and foreign service officers. Among those to be evacuated will be Afghan interpreters and contractors who served alongside ADF troops. Oh, okay. So just getting the people that we pay out. Okay. Oh, look, Australians working for Afghan and international charities and non-government organisations will also be offered evacuation, as well as journalists and some dual citizens. Interesting. Remember when Biden said that there would be no helicopters on roofs? Well, it seems more and more likely. How hot's this? Still pretty hot. Australia quietly withdrew the last of its defence and civilian personnel from Afghanistan on June 18, despite serious doubts about the strategic wisdom of the retreat. I mean, wasn't that quiet? I covered it on stream when it happened. Let me tell you, that's a real crazy fucking thing. It was quite surreal to imagine all of Australian troops gone from Afghanistan. Like, this war's gone out. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just woken up. Like, the war is almost as old as I am. And so, to imagine Australian troops are finally out of the country, it's hard to wrap your head around. And as to serious doubts about the strategic wisdom of the retreat, well, we'll get to that. The decision to withdraw was made by the National Security of Cabinet on or about May 12th, just days after Foreign Minister Maurice Payne had met President Ashraf Ghani and confirmed Australia's support for the Afghanistan government and people during this time of change for the country. As the ABC revealed last month, the government has been considering re-establishing a president in Afghanistan to monitor a resurgence of the Taliban. But the speed with which the insurgents have retaken much of Afghanistan's northwest and southern provinces has shocked Western allies. The Taliban has taken the second and third largest cities in Afghanistan, Herat and Kandahar, and on Friday the Taliban captured Tarankot, the base for Australian forces for more than a decade. US President Joe Biden has faced international and domestic criticism for America's hasty retreat from Afghanistan, with British Defence Secretary Ben Wallace saying it risked returning the war-torn country to a breeding ground for terrorism. The Taliban's breakneck advance towards Kabul has forced a rethink from the US on its continued diplomatic presence in Afghanistan. The US will deploy 3,000 troops to secure evacuations of US Embassy staff from Kabul's Green Zone. Britain will do the same, sending about 600 troops on a short-term mission, and Canada will dispatch Special Force soldiers. Mr. Biden was never enthusiastic about the Afghanistan war, saying the US objective to degrade the terrorist threat and keep Afghanistan from becoming a base from which attacks could be continued against the United States had been achieved. We did not go to Afghanistan to nation build, the US president said last month. Oof, that should have stayed in the draft, sweaty. Damn. No, we came quite the opposite to nation build. Jesus Christ. So, let's talk a little bit about foreign involvement in Afghanistan. Now, I know that is an unpopular topic, and let me say right at the top of this that I don't want foreign forces in Afghanistan. It's not something I like. It's not something I support. It's not something I want. There is a but coming. But a lot of lefties I've seen, or not a lot, like some lefties I've seen online, are really not looking at this, having a very reductive sense, a reductive reaction to the situation. They have quite a knee-jerk reaction of just foreign intervention bad. Which, in some respects, is fair enough, because countries like Australia and America have a don't have a good heard something. I wonder what it was. Countries like Australia and America don't have a good history foreign intervention, so fair enough. However, there's no use arguing about who's responsible. Like, I've seen like the argument like, well, who created the Taliban? Okay, there's no good arguing about what happened in the past, all right? All we can talk about is the present and the future. Now, I've held the opinion that like I said, while I don't want forces there, I'm worried about the consequences of pulling out suddenly, just ripping off the band-aid. I worry what kind of fate that leaves the Afghani people to. The most nuanced take I've seen on this whole situation is that we're never going to have... There's never going to be, like, the perfect exit strategy, so we might as well pull out. Like, we might as well just say, okay, we're never going to... Like, we know our governments, we know the kind of people that run them, we know how those governments run and how they run the military. There's never going to be the perfect exit strategy where, forces go home, while at the same time, the country we pull out of is, able to prop itself up on its own. That's never going to happen. If we're being realistic, it's never going to happen, so we might as well just bite the bullet and pull out. Now, the realist in me can acknowledge that. The optimist, I guess, or maybe the idealist in me, wishes for an exit strategy. So we're really stuck between a rock and a hard place. Because now that we have suddenly pulled out, we've seen the effects. Taliban edges closer to Afghanistan capital Kabul, launches attacks on key northern city of Mazar-e-Sharif. The Taliban have seized two more provinces and approached the outskirts of Afghanistan's capital, while also launching a multi-pronged assault on the major city of Mazar-e-Sharif in the north. The insurgents have captured much of northern, western, and southern Afghanistan in a breakneck offensive less than 3 weeks before the United States is set to withdraw its last troops, raising fears of a full militant takeover or another civil war. The Taliban captured all of Logar and detained its provincial officials, said local politician Hadar Mahdi on Saturday. She said the Taliban had reached the Shah Asyab district, just 11 kilometers south of the capital Kabul. 11 kilometers. Jesus Christ. I mean, if they don't reach the city by the end of today, they have to. The insurgents also captured the capital of Pakitika, bordering Pakistan, according to Khalid Assad, a politician from the province. He said fighting broke out in Sharana early on Saturday, but ended after local elders intervened to negotiate a pullout. He said the governor and other officials surrendered and were on their way to Kabul. The Taliban also attacked the northern city of Mazar-e-Sharif from several directions, setting off heavy fighting on its outskirts, according to Munir Ahmed Farhad, a spokesman for the provincial governor. There was no immediate word on casualties. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani delivered a televised speech on Saturday, his first public appearance since the recent Taliban gains. He vowed not to give up on the achievements of the 20 years since the US toppled the Taliban following the 9/11 attacks. We have started consultations inside the government with elders and political leaders, representatives of different levels of the community, as well as our international allies, he said. Soon the results will be shared with you, he added without elaborating further. The president had flown from Mazar-e-Sharif on Wednesday to rally the city's defences, meeting with several militia commanders, including Abdul Rashid Dostum and Attar Mohammad Noor, who command thousands of fighters. They remain allied with the government, but during previous rounds of fighting in Afghanistan, warlords have been known to switch sides for their survival. Yeah. Ismail Khan, a powerful former warlord who had tried to defend Herat, was captured by the Taliban when the insurgents seized the western city after 2 weeks of heavy fighting. Residents of Mazar-e Sharif have expressed their fear about the security breakdown. Many stand ready to fight. The situation is desperate outside the city, yet inside the city, Molibullah Khan said, adding that many residents were also struggling economically. The security situation in the city is getting worse, Kawab Bessarat said. Am I supposed to know who these people are? Give me some context for their names. The Taliban have made major advances in recent days, including capturing Herat and Kandahar, the city's second and third largest cities. They now control half of Afghanistan's 34 provinces, leaving the Western-backed government in control of a smattering of provinces in the centre and east, as well as Kabul and Mazar-e Sharif. The withdrawal of foreign forces and the swift retreat of Afghanistan's own troops, despite hundreds of billions of dollars in US aid over the years, has raised fears the Taliban could return to power or the country could be shattered by factional fighting, as it was after the Soviet withdrawal in 1989. The ABC can reveal the Australian military will head to Afghanistan as early as this week to evacuate hundreds of interpreters and contractors who worked with the ADF. The first Marines from a contingent of 3,000 arrived on Friday to help partially evacuate the US Embassy. The rest are set to arrive by Sunday, and their deployment has raised questions about whether the administration will meet its August 31st withdrawal deadline. The Taliban, meanwhile, released a video announcing the takeover of the main radio station in the southern city of Kandahar, renaming it the Voice of Sharia, or Islamic Law. In the video, an unnamed insurgent said all employees were present and would broadcast news, political analysis, and recitations of the Quran, the Islamic holy book. It appears the station will no longer play music. It was not clear if the Taliban had purged the previous employees or allowed them to return to work. Most residents of Kandahar sport the traditional dress favoured by the Taliban. The man in the video congratulated the people of Kandahar on the Taliban's victory. The Taliban have used mobile radio stations over the years, but have not operated a station inside a major city since they ruled the country from 1996 to 2001. At that time, they also ran a station called Voice of Sharia out of Kandahar, the birthplace of the militant group. Music was banned. The US invaded shortly after the 9/11 attacks, which Al-Qaeda planned and carried out while being sheltered by Taliban. After rapidly ousting the Taliban, the US shifted towards nation building, hoping to create a modern Afghan state after decades of war and unrest. Well, that didn't turn out well, did it? Earlier this year, President Joe Biden announced a timeline for the withdrawal of all US troops by the end of August, pledging to end America's longest war. His predecessor, Donald Trump, had reached an agreement with the Taliban to pave the way for a US pullout. Mr. Biden's announcement set the latest offensive in motion. The Taliban, who have long controlled large parts of the Afghan countryside, moved quickly to seize provincial capitals, border crossings, and other key infrastructure. Tens of thousands of Afghans have fled their homes, with many fearing a return to the Taliban's oppressive rule. The group has previously governed Afghanistan under a harsh version of Islamic law in which women were largely confined to the home. So yeah, you can get an idea of, my hesitancy over pulling out. Again, I'm not a fan of staying there forever. I'm really not. But I mean, what's the alternative? I mean, the only alternative is just pulling straight out and letting the Taliban take over Afghanistan again. Which, I don't know, it's a shit situation either way. It's really shit. There's no... This is the thing, there is no viable exit strategy. There's no magic solution. There's no button we can press that solves all the problems. we've been there for 20 years, and in that time have failed to come up with any kind of sound strategy. I think the last 10 years were spent trying to get out. I don't know, man. I've got nothing. I don't know how I feel about sending troops back in to combat the Taliban resurgence, because it's kind of like, at this point, I mean, if we pulled out, like, we might as well pull out. Because it seems like we've pulled out, and now we're sending troops back in. So again, like, if we're not going to find a solution, we might as well pull out. But, you know, we don't have a solution. We did pull out, but now we're going back. You know, make up your goddamn mind already. Reminder that the title of this stream opens with "War is a Racket." By the way, I also saw a screenshot on Twitter. There was something like, I think it was Raytheon stock, way up through the roof. Of course, as it would be. Makes sense. So yeah. Excuse me. Things aren't going well. Australians aren't really thinking about it. I've seen some people talking online about it. Obviously, there was, you know, debate panels and whatnot on the topic. Yeah, there's really no easy answer, unfortunately. And I can't even tell you if going back is a mistake. Because it's, you know, if we're going to pull out, we might as well pull out. Then I can't say if, oh, okay, well, if it didn't work out, should we go back? I can't tell you. I don't know. So, I'm sorry. That's the situation there. I'm still feeling really fatigued, but I got a little bit more in me. We can switch to something a bit lighthearted. We can have a little bit of a laugh, alright? After this heavy topic. And then I gotta end because I'm just so fatigued. It better not be COVID, because one of the symptoms of COVID is fatigue. I'm feeling all fine other than that. Alright. Sorry to do this to you all, but LOL, Ben Shapiro reacts to insane woke TikToks. Oh boy. Old man yells at cloud. Boomer. Ben Shapiro meets his worst nightmare. Oh. Interesting. Go subscribe to Shark. They're cool. Okay. Alright, Ben. Take it away. What have you got for us?
Alrighty, folks. Today we are going to take a look at some of the most woke TikTok clips out there. Now, my producer's telling me these are particularly difficult to watch, but I will be the judge.
You may regret that.
Before we begin, I want to give a shout out to Giant Partners for sponsoring this.
Shut up. Is this still the ad? Where's the TikTok? Okay, here we go.
How we have created basically two categories in American society: the victimized and the victimizers. And when you create those two categories, everybody wants to be in the victimized category.
Hang on a sec. Let me take that back a little bit more.
So it's fun to watch how we have created basically two categories in American society: the victimized and the victimizers. And when you create those two categories, everybody wants to be in the victimized category.
Interesting. It's a very Marxist way to look at the world, Ben.
Because you don't want to be a victimizer, so now you're like a cupiosexual or a demisexual was the other one that was recently in the news because of Andrew Cuomo's daughter declaring herself a woman who only wants to have sex with people to whom she's emotionally attracted, which used to just be called a woman. But it's all good times. You have terms for everything now. Terms up the wazoo.
Governor Abbott has just lifted the mandatory mask mandate in the entire state of Texas. Now businesses are back at 100% capacity. So when there's a giant spike in our country, you're gonna know exactly who to blame. You can say don't mess with Texas all you want. You know who can mess with Texas? The wrath of God. Viruses don't care about your weird state pride. Get over it.
Did the spike happen?
Nope.
It did not.
Yes, it did. Texas is spiking right now, Ben. Oh, boy. I hope none of these TikToks have copyrighted music, but if they're talking, they probably won't. Also, interesting that you invoke the wrath of God. Yeah. She's right.
Not. Also, I have a feeling this may be one of the only times this person uses God unironically. It's funny how the left will always talk about the wrath of God when all they really mean is this sort of pagan concept in which nature punishes you for not being left-wing enough. This is healthy.
What? Maybe they are religious. How do you know they're left-wing? It could just be some liberal. Alright, not everybody on the left is an atheist. And maybe they're using language that would speak to conservatives.
Behavior. Oh my God, other people aren't going to be mandated to wear masks post the possibility of vaccination, and you can get a vaccine anytime you want. Everybody can get one, and I can't boss people around. God will avenge himself on Texas. The most religious people are the pagan atheists.
What? What? Pagan atheists. Pagan atheists. Pagan atheists. Ben! Okay.
Hi, I'm Jax, and I just came up with new neopronouns that combine he, him, she, her, and they, them, okay? So hear me out. They, them, theirs, okay? They, them, their, whatever you want to consider it, right? Let's take the first one, the, okay? This combines she, he, and they, right? They.
What was the joke? What was the truck joke?
The.
Ben! Last time we got a YouTube ad, it crashed the goddamn stream, alright? This seems like ultimate punching down. Not by me, punching down on Ben, but he's like, let's find these probably obscure TikTok videos of just people just like talking about neopronouns and shit on them. Arsehole move, Ben. But so-called libertarian here.
That's what they said, you know? That's what they said.
I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
Oh my god. You're not cool, Ben.
Don't know what we're yelling about!
Also,
What do you mean we don't know what they're talking about? That's how you refer to them. Or if they want to.
I mean, just a refresher, the word the actually does have a meaning, right? Like the with two e's at the end means you in English. So now you're just taking that term and you've turned it not into they, but also into they and he, and also she, and they and him, but not her. That's another word. That's thers. All of this is designed to confuse. All of this is designed to convey less information. Because, as it turns out, there is no person who is male, female, and also plural. Those people don't exist.
Well, they're not saying plural. It's just, I don't know, maybe someone who's identifies as both male and female could use those pronouns. If any, it's not designed to confuse. If anything, it's designed to be more specific.
Nope. Not a thing. But, well, I mean, I guess it's better than those other neopronouns. Some people are calling themselves, like, unicorn. Unicorn-ers. You know, we are a childish and foolish society.
Hi there, my name is Sarah. This little cutie is my son Bennett. As you can see, my son is a white male, so here are some books that I bought to help prevent him from growing up to be awful. Starting out strong, we have C is for consent. Pretty self-explanatory, but it's a picture book that goes into detail about consent with your body, with family.
No thanks.
Because I'm raising a feminist, we've got A is for awesome, 23 inspirational women. Finally, we have Except When They Don't, a book about boys and girls liking whatever they want, regardless of their gender.
Oh. Fuck, am I going to agree with Ben here? Okay. Let me get my take out before he speaks. There's nothing wrong with teaching your children these concepts. However, that has to be the most cringe framing ever. Like, opening it with, like, my less than a year old baby is a white male. Holy fuck. Is it time to push the liberal extinction button yet? Please.
Sorry, I'm looking up the number for Child Protective Services. It's a person who has a very clear set of values that she wishes to impart to her child. Her set of values suggests that her son, being white and male, is naturally inclined toward being a terrible, horrible person. And so she must indoctrinate him to believe that males and females are completely fluid categories, and also that white males naturally are going to be rapey. Seems like good times over there. But here's the thing. When you're...
Wait. But you agree with all that, Ben, except for, like, the male and female fluidity part. You agree that, like, boys are naturally aggressive, that boys are naturally more violent and more prone to, like, sexual violence and, like, sexual context. That's what conservatives believe. Like, reminder, Dennis Prager wrote 2 whole ass essays about how women, like, wives need to put out for their husbands, and that men are naturally rapey. He's made, like, videos on the topic about how it's only, like, religious values that hold back, like, the male rape desire. So, what do you mean? That's all your guys' thing. You guys are all about humans are naturally selfish and irrational. That's conservatism 101.
Parent, you don't get to just bring up your child like they're in a vacuum. You gotta pick a value system. So here's a person picking a value system, and it has its downsides.
What are your preferred pronouns? They, them. Oh, I've never heard those before. What are they? They're what's known as neopronouns. What are neopronouns? They're basically your own custom pronouns. When no other pronouns seem to fit, you come up with your own pronouns. Anything can really be a pronoun.
It's true, anything.
How do I use them? It depends on the person and their pronouns. They, them follows a similar spelling to they and them, and even similar grammar rules like there and there. So they, them, themself, theirs, things like that.
Okay, now you just sound...
They could not have laid it out more simply. Like, I swear to God, Ben, if you're going to turn around and tell me that doesn't make sense, it could have not been laid out in a more simple fashion. Come on. Come on, Ben. So-called libertarian Ben. I'm sorry, I was under the impression that libertarianism was do as you like, as long as you're not stopping another person from doing the same. Someone identifying however they want has no impact on you. Please, Ben, do not tell me that was confusing, alright? Come on. Come on.
Sound like an actor from 1940s doing a bad German accent. What do they say? Have you talked to them?
Would you care for another Schnitzengruben?
Neopronouns are just, you're making shit up, is what I'm getting from this.
Yeah.
And we're all supposed to just pretend this is normal. Oh my God, we're all supposed to pretend that we're gonna go
I knew it! I knew he was going to make an argument from intuition, like, oh, this feels wrong, so we should not do it. My friend, who the fuck cares? If that's how they want to identify, tough tits.
With this now, like, okay.
Normal. Like, the concept of normal is just a gatekeep to keep out what you call degeneracy. It's pathetic. Degeneracy is not an argument.
I just felt so, marginalized by typical human language that I've created a new set of terms in which I prefer to be referred to as and also those are my new pronouns. So every time I come in the room, I want somebody to say, well, instead of like there he goes, to be there goes. We are taking all of the things like reason and human language that used to be universal and humanizing, and we are removing those in favor of just random good times.
Don't talk about reason, because conservatives aren't reasonable. Hello, as I just said, like, one of the tenets of conservatism is irrationality. Conservatives are proud that human nature is inherently selfish and irrational. Fuck, I had something else to say. What was it? Fuck, Ben. Oh my God. Nah, it's gone.
We'll get to more of this TikTok.
You son of a bitch. Hell, is this all ad? This can't all be ad.
Extraordinary femininity demonstrated by this particular trans woman. Definitely convinces me that gender...
Wow. Asshole. Wait, where is...
Giant Partners operates in the business-to-business space. SEO that they do. Whether you own the next level, their marketing, their largest customers, Giant Partners...
God damn it.
Here.
1, a 2, a 3, a 4. Watermelon sugar fried. Watermelon sugar fried. One non-binary, gender fluid, trans men and women too.
Trans men and women too. Wow. First of all, just the musical talent on display is spectacular. The hijacking of children into this video is also particularly spectacular. I really did enjoy that. Non-binary, gender fluid, trans men and trans women.
Just say it, Ben. Just say all queer people are pedophiles. We know you want to.
Too. Extraordinary femininity demonstrated by this particular trans woman. Definitely convinces me that gender is nothing but a social construct.
My fur girl just came up.
No one can... My god, that's the whole point of gender. The fact that it is a social construct, that you don't need to conform to just this one hyper-specific idea of this is what a man is, this is what a woman is.
Up to me and asked if she could play with my Dumbo Trump flag. And I said, my Dumbo Trump flag? I don't have one of those. And yes, she calls him Dumbo. I just never corrected her. And she goes, yeah, you do. This one. And I feel like it's kind of profound. Did he ruin the flag for anybody else? Just me?
Maybe you should have exposed her to the American flag before Donald Trump did, and that would have been your solution right there. Maybe the reason that she associates the flag with Trump is because you never taught her what an American flag was. And that one's on you. That one's on you.
When it comes to...
Wow, why would you want to expose them to an American flag? Weird jingoistic bullshit.
Inclusive language. Oftentimes people tend to use phrases like people with penises or people with vaginas rather than saying male and female or men and women. While this can absolutely be inclusive for trans people, unfortunately it's not always the most inclusive language for intersex people. My advice is to use language that focuses on function and not just form. That means focusing on the actual function that you're talking about, such as people who can get pregnant, people who can get other people.
Damn it, Ben, come on. This video isn't worth 2 ads. You son of a bitch. Come on, man. You're gonna crash the stream out again with your fucking ads. You selfish prick.
Pregnant, people who can get other people pregnant, people who are at risk of testicular cancer, and so on and so forth. This is much more inclusive because there are intersex people who are born with a vagina but don't have a uterus or ovaries or an ability to menstruate. This is because some people that are born with a penis don't have testes.
I think that from now on we should describe people by all of their biological features. All of them. So I think it should just get longer and longer. So it could be a person with a penis but no testes and also a uterus but a prostate. Like that, I feel like that would be better than just saying intersex people. Honestly, I wonder how many intersex people really feel bad if you say that they are an intersex person, because that is a biological status, but isn't what they identify as the only thing that matters? I mean, why are we even trying to use objective metrics like whether they are a person who has a uterus in order to measure who they truly are inside? This lady's too intolerant. This person who I presume to have a uterus but have to make an assumption about. I think this person, gender offender bender,
I've got what they call gaydar,
is not sensitive enough, frankly.
Reminder, the title of this video is LOL, meaning we're supposed to laugh. Who laughs at this? Even conservatives. Do people laugh at this? Do people find this funny? Like... Is anyone saying like, haha, this is funny? Never trust a leftist that looks like a clown. Abraham Limcom. What? I lost it at themself. Please do this again. This is the best 12 minutes I've had in a while. Wow, okay. I'm laughing my ass out. I'm in Nigeria working on getting my degree in pharmacy and hoping I can migrate to America someday, and this is what these people are using their American privilege for. I wish I had the time. Wow, okay. Leftist. Everything can really be a pronoun. Everything can be really a pronoun. Sorry, I corrected the grammar in my head. Well, then today I proudly announce my pronoun is Stardenburden Hardenbart. Right. Hilarious. I love Ben Shapiro. He reminds me that there could be no hope for this world, and we'll all soon reach our demise. Okay, I think I've had enough. This is supposed to be funny. Victoria has acquired 25 new COVID cases. Hooray! Lockdown won't be ending after this week, will it? Probably not. Well, it's supposed to end on, I think, Thursday? I mean, it won't. So thanks for that, Ben. We can talk about COVID for a little bit. So, there's no additional financial support for us in lockdown right now. As you can see, people have not been generous with my daily dono, so hey, it would fucking mean a whole lot if you'd help out. Because now that all of New South Wales is in lockdown, the government has to bring back JobKeeper, or has to bring back the increase to the Social Security payments that they had last year. Because fuck me, like, I'm not the only one struggling. Like, I went to the supermarket yesterday and spent all the money I had on food to get me through to Friday next week, which is when I get paid. And that's it. I've got money to pay my rent in... Is it tomorrow? Maybe. I think it's tomorrow. And that's it. And let me tell you, like, it's been like that since I got paid last Friday, last week. So thanks, Scott. You useless cocksucker. Actually, no, it's too good for you. You useless cunt. Like, that's still too good for you. You useless heap of shit. Anyway. That's about all I had. Thank you for watching. I'm Louis Vuitton. Check out some other time and we'll cover maybe some less heavy topics.